The Barrel House is brought to you by you, the listener, and those of you who have chosen to support the show over at patreon.com/barrelhouse, especially our Whiskey Legend and Out of Your Mind tier patrons. Without you, the show wouldn't be possible. Hello, and welcome to the Barrel House. Yes, hello and welcome back to the Barrel House. I am your host, Joe Kane, and today we're talking about a really great bottle of whiskey that I almost didn't do a review on because I almost finished the bottle before I did it, and it's a limited release, so that would have been a terrible thing. This is Adbeg Blaaack. This is the committee release from 2020. This is a limited edition. Let me hold it up here for the camera for our YouTube audience. This is a limited edition Adbeg committee release, and it is an Adbeg finished in Pinot Noir casks. We'll dig into that in a little bit, but before we get started, I want to thank all of our patrons over at patreon.com/barrelhouse for helping out the show. Your support with the show, your time, your money, your feedback. The feedback, almost more than anything else, is super important. I take that and I run with it. One of those things being, as the last video on the channel says, some revamped Patreon perks. So those revamped Patreon perks are now in effect for anybody signing up. So if you sign up now, you'll get in at patreon.com/barrelhouse. You'll get into the new level, the new tier system that could get you on the show, or some other exclusive, really interesting, really fun perks. And if you sign up and you have better ideas for more perks that you want to see, once you're signed up, we can have that conversation. The other piece of, we'll call it housekeeping, is that YouTube now has handles. So now you can go right to the channel for YouTube at youtube.com/@barrelhouse. And if you want to tag me in a video so that I see it and can respond to it or whatever, or if you want to message me, you can just get me at Barrelhouse. I think that's a neat thing. I'm looking forward to that. And it's also a much easier link to share than youtube.com/beep-bop-boop-beep-boop-boop-boop-boop, whatever it used to be. So that's all of my housekeeping. youtube.com/@barrelhouse. and patreon.com/barrelhouse. That is where you will be able to find me on those two platforms going forward. So let's dig into this bottle. Let's get ready to roll. It is time for Adbeg Blaaack. I'm doing this new thing. I'm trying this new thing. I'm going to live mix the shows just to see how that goes. I got this new piece of podcast equipment here that I think will be fun for it. And also, that way I get to hear the music while I'm doing the show, and I can kind of groove with it. It's kind of like being on the live show. I'll try not to have the music too loud, though, because I want you to be able to hear me. So, Adbeg Blaaack. Black with like too many A's, 3 A's, Blaaack. And there is actually sheep all over this bottle, so I can make that joke, and it's not even original. It's not even a little... Or rams. Yeah, that's like a ram. That's not even an original joke. This is a 50.7% alcohol by volume single malt Scotch from Adbeg. It's an Islay whiskey, and it is in ex-Pinot Noir casks that are from, I don't know what winery, but it's from a New Zealand wine. And it is really an interesting thing because Pinot Noir is not a whiskey you usually, or not a wine you usually get whiskey aged with. Usually it's sherry or port or something like that. Sometimes you get some cognac or some oddball ones, but not normally Pinot Noir. And this is one that really, you really get it. And, actually what led me onto this, I'm hoping to be able to find it, is that the new committee release is out, and it is supposed to be their like smokiest whiskey ever. And I'm pretty excited for that. And it's called Adbeg Hypernova. If you see it, hook me up. But no, this is interesting because the Pinot Noir influence is so strong that it's almost not smoky on the nose. It's a really interesting wine. It's noticeably darker than a lot of Adbeg, but it's not dark. Ardbeg is natural color, you know, and it's usually very, very light. This is definitely in that realm of very light, but it's darker than you see a lot of times. It is very peaty on the nose, but it does not have the campfire kind of reek to it. I just got these new, so here's a free ad for a company. Hope maybe I can get them to support me. For those of you on the audio version, I was shaking my head no wildly while I said that. I just bought these new boots from Thursday Boot Company. I really like those boots. They're very comfortable. It's my third set, I think, of Thursday boots. They're super, super comfortable. I love them. But this kind of has that fresh, new leather. Like when you open the box of boots, when you first open the box of brand new boots, and you get wafted by that deep, like what's the word I'm looking for? Like concentrated, like right ready for you, leather smell. Just like all Ardbeg, it does have a real proteiny thing, like a smoked meat, brisket kind of thing. It is much less, you know, like it is very, in the Ugadal, it's very like almost bacony. And that is one of the notes they put right on the front of the bottle of Ugadal. Ugadal. It's not so much bacony. It is definitely more of like a heavy brisket kind of thick smoked meat, like a thick meaty boy. It's a little peppery. It's very earthy, like mossy, dirty, wet, like walking through the woods after a rain. There's some citrus. I'm just getting off of a cold and I'm having a hard time with the citrus. It's like a real bright note and I can't really pull it. It is citrusy. I couldn't tell you right now if that's a lemon or an orange. Most, if any, of any kind of sweetness on this is like, it's not candied at all. It's sweet the way like raw honey maybe, but it's not but there's very little sweet at all. It's very, very little on the nose. This is all on the nose. That's a lot of nose notes. That's a lot of nose notes. Oh man, I've been playing a ton of Marvel Snap this week. And it's just on my head. It's just in my mind. I had like 3 things in that last diatribe about the nose that I wanted to talk about Marvel Snap on, but I didn't do it. I kept it to myself. Ooh, it's good. I forgot how good this is. It's been a while since I had it. Excuse me while I just enjoy it before I tell you about how good it is. The leather and the proteins come through in like tidal waves. It's super strong. It's not it doesn't overpower. It doesn't like drown the rest of the flavors, but it is very much so dominant. You definitely get the leather and the protein strong right off the rip. A little bit of pepper. On the palate, it's definitely like orange peel, like orange zest. It is remarkably thin mouthfeel wise for Ardbeg. Ardbeg's usually really heavy, oily, really clingy. This is not that. This is definitely more lighter, cleaner, fresher, in and out. It does have a good finish on it, but it does not linger or cling the way a lot of Ardbegs do. You definitely get the grain, like the maltiness out of this. You definitely get some like darker fruit. maybe like raisin. I get a little raisin out of that. It has an ashiness that's like the smoke in it presents very ashy. It's not quite as rich a smoke as you usually get out of an Ardbeg. It's almost like walking into a room that somebody smoked a cigar in a half an hour ago. You get that like leftover smokiness. It's kind of that bit. So the finish is very lingery, but it's not clingy. So I get like a deep progression on the finish. It's actually a very interesting finish, although I do have one complaint on this finish, and we'll get there in a second. But right off the rip, the leather protein, again, this is, like I said, this whiskey has a lot of that. The leather and proteins come through, and they kind of hit and they hang. And you get, I think, the first note on this that feels woody, really at all, on the finish. You get the smoke bits too, and we're going to come back to that when I start talking about what I don't love about it so much. It's a very nice finish. It rolls through kind of a progression of flavors. I get a little more honey and sweetness on the finish than anywhere else. The thing I don't like is the longest hanging piece of this finish. So the finish is great. It's very nice. It sort of rolls through all these flavors that I really do like quite a bit. And then the last thing, the thing that hangs on the longest, the thing you're stuck with, is sort of like the way your mouth tastes the morning after having a couple cigars. It's like very kind of bitter and a little gross. And it hangs on, but it's very faint. It's not a strong, overpowering thing. It's not unpleasant, but it is there, and it does last for quite a while. That's like the thing that hangs on the longest. So, you know, as somebody that smokes a cigar now and then, it doesn't really bother me. If you never smoke cigars, you might be like, ooh, this tastes kind of gross. But it is, like I said, just in the finish. The rest of the pour is very, very good. If you were to chase it down with some water or maybe a beer, because I am so classy that I am podcasting about whiskey while also drinking a beer, because why not? You wouldn't get any of that. It would go right away. Overall, I mean, it's a very good pour. I would tell you to go buy it. However, it's like a $150 bottle, which I feel like is a little bit much for the quality. But like I've said before in whiskey, price is almost always rarity, not quality. And that's where this kicks in. This was a 2020 limited release. At this point in time, you probably can't find it. If you do, it's in a liquor store with no traffic that just happened to get some. So maybe you can't buy it. I don't know. If you stop by the bar and there's any left, I'll pour you some. Just let me know you're here. Let me know you're coming, and don't just show up and creep me out. Yeah, it's a great pour. I really like it. I also really love Ardbeg though. So it is right in my wheelhouse. I'm really looking forward to the Hypernova. I'm going to try to find it. If I have another episode that I was going to do, I'm going to post after this one. But if I can find the Hypernova, I might back-to-back those. And I have, due to Patreon tiers, my first Patreon tier episode. It's going to be anonymous because the person knows me in real life and doesn't want their name used. So it'll be an anonymous one, but it's going to be my first Patreon episode, my first Patreon pour choice. One of the things is they can choose the whiskey, and it's not whiskey. We'll leave a little suspense there. That's going to be coming up here pretty soon as well. So look forward to that as I try to fumble my way through a liquor I'm unfamiliar with, because a patron thought it would be funny to watch it happen. So that'll be up fairly soon. I have to go get that particular alcohol to do it. I'm just glad it's not it's not Malort or anything like that. It's not a gross one. It is not my wheelhouse though. So look forward to that. Until you know where to get at me. You have any questions, comments, concerns, you have questions about Patreon, hit me up at Barrel House Podcast everywhere, or Barrel House Pod on Twitter because they suck. Get at me at Discord, igloomedia.com/Discord. You can find the links to everything at barrelhousepodcast.com. Rate and review the show on iTunes. Check out the Film Appraisers. We just did a pretty cool Halloween special, Killer Clowns, with Jason from Smoking and Drinking in Space and Smoking and Drinking in Capes, and formerly on this show as a guest. So check out all that stuff. That's we've had a lot of fun with all that stuff lately. So until next time, drink whiskey, be merry, and take care. We'll see you soon. The Barrel House is written, produced, and hosted by Joe Kane, and it's a proud member of the Earglue Media Network. Views and opinions expressed on this show belong only to the mouth they came out of, and as always, please remember to drink responsibly. Slanjava.